Welcome to a brand new episode of the Post Game. I'm your host, Davion, and today we are back with our Let's Talk NFL series. Today we are continuing with the Houston Texans. But first off, let's do some introductions. That is Matt
What up?
and Oronde.
That's good.
I don't remember if I said my name or not, so just YOLO. But yes, as we continue our Let's Talk NFL series, which is a series that we talk through every single team in the NFL. Leave a comment, let us know what team you want us to choose next, and maybe we'll get to it. If not, yeah, wait your turn. But regardless, leave a like, leave a comment, subscribe, let us know how you feel about what we are about to talk about your team. All right, so looking at the Houston Texans, had a pretty much down season last year. What was their? What would they? I think they did they make the playoffs first round exit.
Yeah, first round exit.
First round
Yeah.
exit for the playoffs. And they've had a very active offseason. Lots of trades, some pretty interesting draft picks as well. So first off, some ones that I'm going to just hot talk about. Laramie Tunsil, one of the best offensive linemen in the game, traded to the Commanders. We have Christian Kirk picked up in a trade. They traded for C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And I mean, what Trent Brown they signed. There's a lot of different things that they've done this offseason. But how do you think they have a plan about what they're doing right now in Houston?
I would like to assume that they do.
Yeah,
Uh, I want to say like a mini rebuild. They've just had a playoff exit, but they moved some pieces that they deemed unnecessary, like stuff on Diggs. They let go of um, Larry Tunsil. Damn. And went and got what is it, Christian Kirk to fill that void real quick, and then they had some good draft moves, but they had a lot of free agent and offseason moves. Now, while I like the Texans, I like CJ Stroud. He had a bit of a sophomore slump, which happens. The
mhm.
fact that they got a playoff push out of a sophomore slump, that's just good team value. So they should at least stay second, if not first, in their division.
Yeah. Um, Houston, yeah, like you guys kind of said, they're doing like a mini rebuild. I don't think so. Obviously, their O-line was not good last year. They were like one of the most, I think Stroud was like one of the most pressured quarterbacks in the league, not sacked, pressured, which is still really bad. Um, they trade away Laramie Tunsil. They trade for Ed Ingram. That was a part of the Philly trade, I believe.
Yep.
Um, they're going young with the O line, which isn't a bad. It's like never that a bad idea, but if you have guys that you just are all question marks, you know, you hope that that pans out well for them, and then you still have Nico Collins. You go and draft Jaden Higgins. You also get Jalen Knoll, both
Both
the
of
Iowa
Iowa State.
State receivers. Great pickups. You traded back just to get those guys, get more draft capital. Um, you do get Cam Robinson for their O line. Should have mentioned that, but he
Yeah.
was solid. Um, it just they don't have, yeah. It just seems like plug and play stuff. I forgot they even got Trent Brown too. Good
Mm-hmm.
Lord.
Mm-hmm.
So, um, it'll be interesting what they do. Another thing they did give Stingley a massive extension. Um,
Big
thank
news for them.
thank God J.C. Horn got his money before Stingley.
Hmm.
Um, and then and then they also gave Daniil Hunter an extension, who's been great for them. So um, I still think they'll win this division. Um, will I think it'll be more because of their defense, because their defense is just so dominant, and they've been dominant the last couple years.
Yeah.
Offense, they'll probably be mediocre. Um, Still good enough to win though. So yeah.
And they also, one of my favorite underrated picks that they picked up from the draft was Jalen Reed out of
Penn
Purdue.
State.
Safe. Is it Purdue or Penn State?
Penn
It was Penn
State.
State.
Penn State. Sorry, I forget the P's. Useless teams. Anyways,
Oh,
safety, 6 footer,
wow.
really
Ohio
good
State
reach.
got here.
Yeah, beat both of them. Beat the brakes off both of them.
Here he
Anyways,
goes. Here he goes.
um, round six pick, gonna be a really good pickup for them, especially because he's more of like a zone player. and he's going to contribute a lot, especially being basically essentially Stingley's backup if they use him right.
Hmm.
So I'm excited for that. They also, I also really like their Minnesota tackle, Ariante Ursi.
Hmm.
Out of the north, a tackle out of the north, you're gonna get really good value out of that. So
Yep.
I think most places gave their draft like a B or an A minus. So really good for them. And obviously that laundry list of free agent signings that I mentioned earlier.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
so looking at this, looking at this list, looking at this team, like we talked about CJ Stroud and that team's sophomore slump. I mean, you blame injuries for that. You blame, I think it didn't look pretty last season. Like it didn't look complete. It didn't look homogeneous. Like it looked like you were trying to mix oil and water in some spots. It looked like they didn't necessarily have a plan. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And I think when I look at the Houston Texans again, like I love D'Amico Ryans a lot. I think he's a very good head coach. I think that team will die and fight for him. I think very highly of CJ Stroud. I hope that they can find it and bounce back and have a better season this year. And I think they can, adding some veteran leadership around him in that wide receiver room, especially. But the question I want to ask here is, when you look at their high and their low of this upcoming season, where do we see their low being? Second, third? I think third inside of that division is a low. Yeah,
I think I I don't think they'll slide that
I
far.
don't think so either.
It has to be like a freak incident where like
Yeah.
injuries
It,
just like ruin their team.
hmm
But like that's that's most likely not going to happen. Um, yeah, probably third in that
Third in
division
their
is like
division
their
is
low,
low.
like probably 7 wins.
Whoa.
I
Just
don't think they
saying.
get less than 7
No,
either.
I don't think so either.
I don't think so either, but I'm just saying. Their high, their ceiling.
Maybe
I'll-
maybe
Second, third
maybe
round?
add an extra win, 11 wins.
I'm thinking second or third round of playoffs, you know?
Now that Stroud has some playoff experience in his belt, even though he got
for
whooped
sure.
at home,
Hmm.
it is very important to get his foot in the door with that. Even losing his senior wide receiver in Stephon Diggs, yeah, we know Davion doesn't like him. That's not the
He
point.
also lost Tank Dell in that gruesome injury.
Lost Tank
They
Dell,
they have a
which
lot of receivers this
Tank
year
Dell
too.
Tank Dell still has no timetable as of last week.
Yeah,
Head
he's
coach
hurt.
said
He's hurt bad.
he's hurt,
Yeah,
but
it was bad.
um, they do have a lot of backup wide receivers, which is one. I think the most in the league, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, I was gonna say because their receiving core is like super deep this year,
Hmm.
and Nico Collins, who I love Nico Collins so much. I was just because I get him in fantasy too much, but when he's healthy, if I need him to play a full season because he's been kind of maybe 10 to 12 games max, which is
Yeah.
good, but I need to see a full season out of him to
Him, we'll take Dell gone for the foreseeable future. Him and Jaden Higgins is going to be a really nice matchup because
Yeah.
Higgins out of I think Iowa
Iowa
State.
State. Yep.
Yeah, 6'4", pretty skinny, 6'4", 215, but he will be great for, a mesh concept, a flood concept. He got some height that he can put on any secondary out there.
Hmm.
It's going to be really nice to see what he does. And I also want to see my fantasy sleeper, my favorite fantasy pickup at tight end, Dalton Schultz, get another productive season under his belt.
mm-hmm. True.
You're shaking your head over there, but he was like seventh in points.
Yeah, I'm not shaking my head at you. I'm
Yeah, but 7 points for tight ends was awful. So,
bingo.
um, yeah. Okay.
Anyway, um, when I look at this team, it's gonna sound crazy. Do you think they're ready to win a Super Bowl yet?
No.
I want to say yes and no.
Whoa.
I'm saying no because the I'm gonna keep harping on it. The O line really does scare me
Yeah.
for Houston. Um, and I don't know the way they're doing it. It's fine to rebuild that way, but you're doing it in, the third year of your quarterback's rookie contract. They weren't good last year, even with Laramie Tunsil. They they have degressed. Like a lot of their players have, they're just like on paper, they just aren't as good as what they were last year. So
Hmm.
um, that's why I just don't think they're like close to a Super Bowl. They are definitely like a playoff team, but they'll probably be like a first round exit until they can fix that O line. Defense, great. I think they can easily make it just by their defense alone. Stroud's been great when he has time. Um, Joe Mixon, honorable mention,
Joe
who don't
Mixon,
talk about a
yes.
lot. He is so violently underrated. I think he's like one of the best running backs in the league.
Him and
Touchdown
Davion
machine.
Pierce is a great combo that we
Yep.
got a taste of.
Right. So, um, hopefully they can try to, you know, rely on their run game more too. Instead of having Stroud have to throw 40, 50 passes a game. But
Because the Chiefs forced them, absolutely
hard.
mogged
Absolutely.
their run game,
Hmm.
and it was disappointing to see them go out like that. But they kept it close despite losing their run ability.
Yeah.
So, assuming that they can keep up their offensive production and also not have Stroud throw 40 balls a game, he's not built for that. Not
No.
anymore. He actually never was. Even
No.
watching him in college, he was never built for that. Even though they
You
could
should
have
know.
schemed him to run more, he still would throw 25 times to get 400 yards.
Right.
I mean, you were also playing against a bunch of scrubs anyway up there.
Okay. Okay.
It's a bunch of bums, if we're being real.
Whoa.
And playing Iowa. Come
Whoa.
on, man.
True.
Sorry. Anyway, any final thoughts you have on the Houston Texans?
I'm excited to watch Stroud improve, come out of this slump and be great.
Yeah.
Hmm.
I'm wishing for a speedy recovery for Tate Dell. Fun guy,
He
fun
might
wide
be out
receiver to
all next
watch.
season, by the way.
He probably
He's
is,
definitely
but
going to be out next season.
maybe we can get a like a Cooper Cup situation. He comes back just for a playoffs only.
We'll see. I'm excited for the receiving core, honestly. It's really
Me too.
young. Um, Jaden Higgins and Jalen Knoll, both teammates in Iowa State, both playing for the same team now. Hopefully that connection can still, mesh and Stroud can lead them to hopefully better. Um, yeah, that's probably
They
my
have
most
so
exciting
many
thing.
Iowa State receivers. They have three, I think.
Really?
Yeah,
Yeah, Xavier and Hutchinson's out of Iowa State as well. He's just older.
Oh.
interesting. Okay.
Anyway, well, we appreciate y'all for listening or watching. Leave a comment. Let us know how you feel about the Houston Texans and how you think they're going to do this season. But I've been your host, Davion. That's been Matt. It's been Oronde. It's been the post game. Peace.
Peace.
Peace.